Hello, gorgeous Librans, and welcome to January 2020. We are here in this kind of, I think, year that's reached mythical proportions because a new decade, a lot of talk about ascending into the next phase of what life is and how we're going to build that. All the planets are direct. There's this visionary energy. And as we begin this new year, we are in the very middle of eclipse season. So we just had one eclipse in December. We're going to have another eclipse in January. This Cancer Capricorn axis is getting lit up, and so we're also, cardinal signs especially, are kind of getting this reboot and this sense of refreshment and renewal and new perspective. So, jumping into January 2020, there's kind of this intense energy, right? And I think sometimes we open the year feeling some of that high energy of, okay, it's time to go, let's do this. And it's a very exciting time. Now, when I first checked in with your energy, I did notice something really powerful, which is that, yes, this is a big time of vision, being visionary, feeling the visionary energy, kind of feeling it pulse through your body. But the way that the energy is working with you, it's all about calibrating. It's all about finding a balance between your deep, secret, internal self and your visionary, macro lens, performative self. And that really what you will be asked to do time and again this January is, yes, you're going to be moving. You're going to be making changes. You're going to be shifting. You're going to be moving through the world and things are going to be happening. But time and again, you're going to be referred back to the fourth house, that moon-ruled house of the secret, the internal, the home, to check in with your energy. And this makes perfect sense. There's a very logical conversation going on here in the sense that, we can't be expanding out and being that big, bold personality and doing those big, bold things if we aren't taking consistent time, and we're talking every day ideally, to check in with our root system, to check in with our inner wisdom, to check in with our home space. And home can be about, your physical environment, but also about your sense of home within yourself. So there's a lot going on there with that calibration for you. And I'll tell you why. I'm going to start shuffling. Mars is moving into Sagittarius early in the month on January 3rd. We have that fiery Martian energy in Sag, which is so visionary, which is so about let's go, let's blaze some trails. And that for you is in your communication house. So we have that's a very external energy, right? But then we have this full moon eclipse in Cancer, in your 10th house of your destiny, your vision, how you show up in the world. There's a huge surge of energy between Mars and this eclipse, urging you forward to communicate, to talk, to move, right? But we're in Capricorn season, and we are working through Jupiter is going to be conjunct with the South Node in Capricorn. We are going to have a Saturn and Pluto conjunction in Capricorn, and that's all fourth house home and family stuff, hidden moon-centered stuff. So you can see how there's two very strong themes. One is kind of the shadow side, the hidden, and one is very much the external, the bright, the diplomacy, the talking, the moving, the chatting, right? And so you may find that you're kind of getting pulled in both directions. The star, I love it. But don't let that make you feel as though something's wrong or something's off, or that they can't both be there. I really think that the dialogue, Ten of Swords. Yeah, okay, see, here's a perfect example. Star and Ten of Swords, wow. I really think the way that this works is we want to dialogue with these two sides of self consistently. And that's actually where we have the best things happening in life. So there's a few things going on this month. We have, a full moon lunar eclipse in Cancer on January 10th. Uranus goes direct that day. Saturn and Pluto are conjunct, which is kind of a big moment in the year. We're checking in with pain points there. Venus is moving into Pisces on the 13th, and Mercury moves into Aquarius right before the sun does, and then we open up Aquarius season, and then we have a new moon in Aquarius on the 24th. So as we shift, from your fourth house, we're then moving into your fifth house, the last part of the month, which is so creative, so ooey gooey, juicy, good for Librans. Such a great time to allow your heart to speak. King of Cups. Interesting. To allow your heart to speak, allow yourself to get information. Death. Okay, we have a lot of transformers going on here, my friends. There's a lot of transformative energy working with Librans. Two of Cups. And I do think there's a lot of visionary energy, like I said at the beginning of the month. And a lot of this there is a sense of there being kind of freshly laid snow on the ground. For those of us in the northern hemisphere, we have some winter imagery going on in our minds. And putting your feet in that fresh snow and tracking your own path, there's kind of this sense of that visionary energy. Page of Cups and the Sun. Yeah, see, once we get into Aquarius season, you all are having some fun. There's something that clicks into place. But it's also, we are also going to the bones. Emperor. Okay. Yeah, Emperor rules Aries, and as Librans know, you and Aries have a very interesting dynamic. You're always teaching each other things, and there's always this back and forth. You mirror with each other in really powerful ways. So we start off with a little bit more shadow work, a little bit more hidden work, a little bit more of the esoteric in the Libran family this month. And then as the month unfolds and we hit into some new energy, we break out of the esoteric into the external. So let's talk through these cards because they are beautiful. This is some of my favorite energy all put together like this. I always have a thing with the star. So the star is an amazing card. I love that it's the first card that came out. And of course, it is the Aquarian card, and January does herald in a lot of Aquarian energy. But the star is also about expansion. It's also about healing. It's also about tapping into something greater, right? It's traditionally known as the getting your wish card. The star always has a deal. And the deal is this. You can have what you desire, but you can't keep dragging along the weight of those past things if you want to come with me. And it really is, in speaking in like energetic language, you can't be at two frequencies at once. And when you try, they're both kind of very weak, so nothing really happens. And very similarly, if you have a drawer in your house, and that drawer is filled with shirts. They're shirts you never wear. Maybe they're shirts from childhood. They're shirts from a past relationship. They're shirts of an ex, but you haven't gotten rid of them. But you want to use that drawer for something else because you've got art supplies you want to put in there. Are you going to be able to store those art supplies in that drawer unless you let go of those shirts you don't really want? No. And so that's what the star is always, it's very basic, right? And it's like we have to clear the space in order to go on the journey. And that's what this dialogue here with the star and the Ten of Swords is talking about. If you've been holding on to a place, a situation, like a one-sided relationship, a job that like really fills you with dread in the pit of your stomach, the beginning of this month is going to be having you look at that really precisely and really ask yourself, what feels like swords in my back? What feels heavy? What feels cumbersome? What feels like it is completely out of line with who I am now in this new year? Those are the places you will be asked to reassess because you are being initiated into this energy, but that's always the deal. And it's okay. We all have our own divine timing. We all have our own timing when it comes to how we change. If you don't feel quite ready to take that leap this month, that's fine. You will figure out when you need to make those changes and those shifts, but you will be noticing that there is a peaking up of focus when it comes to what's not working for you. And when I look at these cards and I look at the way the month plays out, what I'm seeing is that there's a lot coming in for you. So no wonder you're getting asked to reassess. Do you really want to bring that with you? Because you got all this other stuff coming in. And that's just cluttering everything up, right? Because, okay, so for anybody dealing with a Scorpio out there, which your neighbors with Scorpio, um, and neighbors always tend to, they like to get together. I don't know what that is about our worlds, but often energy neighbors, Librans and Scorpios, Librans and Virgos get together, right? But, King of Cups and Death definitely speak to Scorpionic energy. But this is also about intuition, and it's also about endings and beginnings. So yeah, maybe you have a water sign in your life, but the wisdom of water is always to listen to our gut, right? Our first brain, really. Many cultures think of the gut as one of the most most powerful intellect we have. And I think, that's a lot of what intuitive information is, right? And so the lesson with King of Cups, the lesson with Death is that those waters are flowing. Those waters are moving. The river is moving. You are moving with this river. You are moving downstream. Where is it taking you? Are you resisting it? Are you trying to hold onto branches and scraping your hands? There is a sense that there's no reason to be fighting these changes. There's no reason to be trying to scramble your way back up the hill so that you can get back into whatever it was that you were doing. This energy is bigger than that. Many of the changes that are taking place, they're bigger than you. You're not meant to be holding them all by yourself and figuring it out by yourself and making it okay by yourself. In fact, you are meant to let others help you and guide you. But you are also changing shape. You are also shedding a skin. You are also shedding, maybe quite literally, just some situations and some environments that aren't working for you anymore. And there's a very strong call here. I always joke it's the phone in the back room that's been ringing for a little while, and it's gotten so loud you got to pick it up. There's something kind of catalytic going on here at the beginning of the month during that eclipse season, which makes so much sense. Eclipses are extremely powerful for bringing us clarity of insight. Even if it's not about shaking up the external world, often, we get that aha inside first. Because here's the thing, Librans. So we had some heavier hitting energy, right? And then we just get into the fun, the play, the heart chakra. So we start with the gut information, and then we move to the electromagnetic field of the heart. And that is where this beautiful, look at this, 2 of Cups, Page of Cups. Okay. The message that's coming through here, people, is that if you're willing to loosen up your grip on that thing that's just been feeling heavy and clunky to you, oh man, the flow for you moving forward is so good. This is deep connective energy. This is good news energy. This is full cup energy. Every single character in this scenario has very full cups, brimming, that they can share, because they're feeling really good in themselves, right? These are also news bringers. These are also catalysts. These are also connective energies, right? This is not about you being on your own or being an isolated individual. This is about you feeling like you are connected to those that make sense with you on your journey. It's really positive energy. And there's a sense here that you're meant for this. Now, here's the thing that's really interesting. These energies are not subtle. They are not analytical. You don't have to sit there and analyze why it's working or why it's not. There's a simplicity to the logic of this kind of connective energy where it just works. You don't have to question. You don't have to be afraid. And that's what's coming up for me here. Now, the other thing that's going on, so we have this connective, beautiful energy, is play. You're an air sign, so fire is really important with you. Fire can get you moving. The heat of the fire moves with you. And you have the Sun and the Emperor. These are initiators. These are big time initiators. And it's really interesting because it's the child and the father imagery here. And so these are 2 modalities of fire energy and fire magic. One is all about the playfulness of being a child and going for stuff with that carefree kind of energy that you would have when you grabbed some chalk and you drew on the street, when you ran and climbed a tree, when you just drew for the fun of it, right? There's a sense of, why is it always about, how this is going to look on a professional level or how you're going to get approval? The Sun card is not about that at all. It's about just going and doing what feels right and feels playful and feels easy, not about your perceived appearance to other people. So that's one modality of fire. The other is this Emperor. And the Emperor is about initiation. It's about taking charge. It's about stepping fully into your power. It's about owning the space you take. And I think the thing that's interesting with these two is that they work very well together. If you are creating and moving and loving from the space of just doing it, a carefree lightheartedness, then when you take this seat of high visibility, of empowerment, of love, of abundance, it feels fun. It feels vibrant. And people react to a leader, to a lover, to a friend, to a co-creator who comes from a place of empowerment based on this level of joy here in the sun, much better than any other type of leader in the world. And what this tells me is that you are stepping into a bigger destiny, but it does require this level of joy. Now, I'm going to add a little something fun to the January 2020 reading since we're here and it's so exciting. I'm going to be pulling a card from the Animal Totem Tarot. I'm really enjoying the symbolism of nature and animals as guides. I'm learning this deck. It's got a very different feel than the Rider-Waite and what I normally do. And, we're tapping into some different wisdom. So I'm going to pull one card for January 2020 of that. And it's 6 of Wands. Wow, that's a beautiful card. The imagery here is of the bee. Bees are very sacred, and, esoteric knowledge and esoteric traditions of all kinds, the hidden societies and cultures, all really revere the bee. Bees are extremely potent. They are symbols of fertility and magic and success and the divine working in our lives, right? And the 6 of Wands is about success. It's about triumph. It's about reaching something. It's about triumphing over past difficulties. And that being done, the bee doesn't create triumph from being dominating, right? The bee does it by communing with the flower, by communing with its environment. And there's kind of this softness and this sweetness with this wisdom of the bee. Triumph doesn't come from external domination, right? And, when I look at these cards for you, I just see this huge expansion, this huge growth into the next phase of your life. And that coming from this really quiet, playful, soft side of yourself, that fire in your solar plexus, in your heart, in your root chakras that comes out and lets you lead, lets you step fully into your power. I have a New Year wish toast, as my tradition always goes, for you all as we head into a new decade, a new collective experience, and a new year with the sun. So here are my New Year's wishes to you. May your deep inner wisdom nudge you in the direction that feels good at a soul level every single day. May you notice all the little clues leading you forward. May you give yourself grace and love in times of uncertainty or fear. May you be surrounded by love and nurturing. May you see your path that is laid for you and you take a bold step on it, even when it feels immense and a little overwhelming, because it is yours. I hope you have a beautiful beginning to 2020. I'm sending you so much love. Cheers to a new year. And yes, this is sparkling water. I will be very clear. I take good care of myself, y'all. So Have a beautiful new year. I'm sending you so much love. If you haven't joined me on Patreon, I'm going to have some really great tools for how to get connected to this new year. Also, another really fun bonus of jumping on the Patreon bandwagon is I actually tell you about my personal life, and you get to find out a little bit more about what's going on in my world. It's not just this hidden thing that is kind of behind the scenes. So you get a lot more of a sense of like who I am, where I am in my personal world, not just where I am in the work I do. Also, I'm going to be covering a lot of transits that are coming up in January, so Patreon's a great way to get a lot more resources and to spend more time with me. Who wouldn't want that, right? You can also find me on Instagram at SarahVerba, and you can find me on my website, SARAHTAROT.com. I have a very select number of readings I will be doing the first half of 2020, so if you want to be included in that list, I would highly recommend you email me. I'll leave all my information in the description box so that I can add you to the list so that you know when my calendar opens so you can pick one of those very few spots. Also, of course, I'm wearing PinkLune. This crown she made specifically for me, but she has a whole bunch of beautiful crowns. They are so empowering and beautiful and wonderful, and I really highly recommend you go check out her Etsy shop and see what she has for you there. I hope you have a beautiful January, and I will see you for more adventure with all the moons and moon magic and more on Patreon, and also February, of course. I'm sending you all my love.